This is Stryker of Enyo, and this is me actually achieving my 200,000th gamer score. So yeah, as soon as my car hits about 5,000 miles, you're going to see me do it. And you guys made it. We are at episode 100. Wow, it's just happenstance that all these things came at the same... Yep, there it is. You don't see the on-screen indicator, of course, because that's an app and it doesn't get recorded. But that's the moment I got it. I had to do like 5,001, and that's my celebration crash. So this is the most disappointing games of 2015 released on Xbox One, and we actually have a few ground rules to go over. So this is games that are released at retail in 2015 in physical form or even digital. Now, for those games that are released in multi-part or episodic or part of a collection, it must have seen a retail or digital release in 2015. So if there's like a Game of the Year edition or a complete edition or whatever they want to call it, if it had a physical release that got put out in 2015, even if the original game, the bare bones version of that game, got released in 2014, we're still good. I can still use it because it had another retail release, or at least it had a compilation that had everything on it. Same thing with episodic stuff too. If the first part of an episodic game came out like in December, like from Telltale, and they released the rest of the episodes further in the next year, as long as when they finished their episodic collection, typically they always make a retail version of that, right? Like The Wolf Among Us and whatnot. So that works too. As long as they release that as a collection or as even a physical unit altogether, we're good to go on that. And a third thing is that this actually also includes Xbox 360 backwards compatibility. And it is included up until January 21st of 2016. So yeah, that kind of helps me round out the collection, because quite honestly, I don't go out of my way to actually buy bad games, especially not digitally. So I actually don't have a list for you that's going to be the bad games of 2015, because you know, I go into this buying games I hope are going to be good, and they don't turn out to be exactly what I want. So yeah, I added a few 360 games that were available at the time in order to kind of round out my top 10 list. Don't worry, I've mostly tried to stay Xbox One games that you probably will remember. But there is one other caveat, is the fact that I can only use one entry from the developer Rare. I could make a list on Rare games alone that got me disappointed over the years and that were backwards compatible, but we're only going to use one for this list. But hey, here we go. This is the most disappointing game. Number 10. Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days. Holy crap, did this thing suck. The original developers of Kane and Lynch, you know what? It wasn't that great of a game, but you know what? It was actually pretty good, and it had a great vibe to it. We all know about the whole Jeff Gerstmann fiasco over there at GameSpot, but you know, the first game had kind of a style to it. It was pretty cool. They had, you know, the two characters, Kane and Lynch, you know, kind of fleshed out. They had their own look and whatnot. And, you know, Lynch was the, you know, the masochist, the kind of insane kind of guy, and Lynch was the more, you know, grounded character. But when they did the sequel, they said, well, everyone responded to Lynch so well that we're going to make him the main character. But now, as the player, we can't see the interactions that made the first game so great with that character, because now we are that character. We can't watch Lynch go unchained. We can't watch him go off the rails, because, well, now we're playing as him. Granted, you know, Kane wasn't much of a character, but he was the player character. You know, Lynch really needed to be you needed to see his reaction to events, but when you're playing as him, it was harder to do that. Plus, the whole game basically took place in one location. There was the whole thing of running around the streets of Shanghai naked for both characters, covered in blood. The ending was disappointing, and this was like a 4-hour game too, right? Over with so quick, big disappointment. Number 9. Yeah. The Crew Wild Run Edition. Also, they did make The Crew Complete Edition, which also included Wild Run. You guys have seen a number of my videos. You guys have seen some of the physics that have gone horribly wrong in this game. Yes, the original Crew game was actually released at the end of 2014, but they made a Wild Run Edition, so that's why I'm including it in this. And you know what? This game was kind of disappointing. Now, don't get me wrong. It's still a pretty good game. You know, the whole racing across the continental United States is pretty fun. The map size, even though it's about maybe 60 miles across, you know, give or take. As you can see, I've actually uncovered most of the map, except for some of the mountainous regions and whatnot. There's no achievement for even uncovering the entire map. It's a game that really feels like it was inspired by Test Drive Unlimited. You know, having the whole island of one of the major islands of Hawaii to race around. It's pretty fun, and you know, zooming in and loading into the area is actually fairly quick. As you can see, you know, I just jumped into this spot. It's all done pretty good, and supposedly it uses cloud computing to do this. This isn't normally possible. Your game normally wouldn't load this quickly if you were based on a disc-only or a digital-only version of the game. It's because of the cloud that it lets you do that. And there's a number of cars, but it just never really caught on. From the sales figures I could find, I could not see this game selling over 1 million units. Sad to say, I only saw a verified like 600 copies in North America, and that was some of the only figures that could be shown. Not a huge number of cars. The physics were never really as good as in Forza, whether you're talking about Horizon 2 or even Forza 5. That's more simulation though. It wasn't bad, but you guys have seen the number of failed videos I've done with this game and the physics, and you've seen my car jerk around the whole place and whatnot. So you know, it's still a good game. Racing around is good, but the visuals, people really weren't happy with the overall visuals, and that's a shame because it really is a pretty worthwhile game. Like I said, it's good. It's just not necessarily maybe a great game. There's a lot of stuff to do. Racing around is pretty fun, but ultimately it kind of dropped the ball in some areas. Having to go to a specific place to buy the car you want, and then having to go to a specific tuner, that sucked. Number 8. State of Decay Year 1 Edition. Year 1 Survival Edition, actually. So this had a package of the original State of Decay, plus the Breakdown, and the Lifeline DLCs, all together on the Xbox One in HD glory. The original game was like 720p. And they had promised that this was going to be the definitive edition of this game. It was going to be like they were going back and redoing the animations. They were redoing textures, I guess, too. I don't think this ever showed up on PC. So, like, you know, this was supposed to be, like, really cool. And I absolutely loved this game, and so many people loved it. And we thought finally we were going to get a definitive edition of this game. And then when the game came out, it starts exactly the same way as it did before. You know, no intro cutscene, you know, nothing. Just all of a sudden, you know, fade up from black, and boom, your characters are getting attacked, kill the zombies. It was exactly the same. The visuals, sure, they look a little bit different, but the zombies still kind of move around exactly the same. Animations from your main character, maybe there's more frames of animation or something, but they look like the exact same actions. Zombies still fall through floors and whatnot. You'll see them clipped into buildings. You'll see them do most of the same broken animations as before. It just never felt like much was improved, and dear God, every time you go into like a dark area, which is, you know, when you're actually scavenging for stuff, like when I go in here, the room is so dark and you can't do anything to brighten this up. And it's so hard to be able to tell where you are in relation to the zombies and whatnot. Granted, their eyes glow, that helps a lot. But the scenes shouldn't be this dark. I should be able to see, you know, part of the environment, especially when there's actually light out. This game gets so dark, it's almost embarrassing. And that's kind of a shame. I was really disappointed, the fact that really not a whole lot had changed. Sure, you can load supplies now into cars, because that feature was added with one of the DLCs. So that's actually kind of cool. I like being able to throw it in the back of an SUV. You know, they added some weapons, they added this new character, so they have done some stuff. But you know what? I guess we were just expecting there to be a whole lot more added and some of the fixes to be done from before, but they weren't. Number 7. Payday 2 Crime Wave Edition. Oh my god, I freaking love the Payday series. I literally liked the idea of it so much, I bought the original Payday for $20, brand new price, you know, on PlayStation 3, because that was the only place to find it. So I bought it there on a friend's system, you know, made a profile, just so I could play this game. I was so excited about the original one. And then when Payday 2 came out, I played the crap out of it. It was absolutely fantastic, absolutely wonderful. And this is the Crime Wave Edition, so you would think that this would add everything. Well, it does add everything from PC and the other versions of the game. But you know what? Even though Borderlands and State of Decay had it so that you could import your save files from this 360 version, the biggest thing that totally sucked on this game was the fact that you had to start over completely from scratch. You couldn't import your save over. And I loved this game. I loved Payday 2 on 360, you know, slash PlayStation 3 if you want to call it that. You know, I got a bunch of masks. I had a friend that, you know, heck, he had played with us quite a bit, and he still never got a silencer for his gun. You know, and now you're asking us to move all our stuff over. I was a high rank on 360, and now you're asking us to basically throw that all away and start from scratch? That is so hard to do, man. Starting from level 1 again, not having any silencers, not having any of the stuff that I had before. Me and my friends just didn't play the game. I still can't get friends to actually buy this game because, well, they did a lot of stuff on the 360 version, but, I mean, there's more weapons and everything, and there's 4 new characters. All the PC content has been added to this. There's more missions, there's more heists. All the DLC from the original game is all here. It's all here. Nearly, I think, 100 weapons total. It's like 99 weapons, which is unseen. They brought back light machine guns, like from the original. You can akimbo some of this stuff. It's really cool. It's really fun. But yeah, the simple fact that they would not work with the players and let us import our saves, it was just too much work to have to start over completely all over again. And then there was the whole fiasco where the developer was saying we're never going to introduce microtransactions, and then they introduced something that was essentially microtransactions, where you would earn a safe as a reward, you know, in the little mini game that comes in the end of a mission. And but the only way to open up that safe was to actually buy with real money a combination lock or a key or something. And that put people in an uproar. They eventually kind of took that away. They slimmed it back, but it really hurt the image of the game, and it's been really hard for anyone to come back to it. And it's a shame, because it's still fun, lots of content. Number 6. Evolve. Sweet baby Jesus, did this thing hit every branch on the way to retail on how you don't want to market your friggin' game. Before there was even a screenshot of this game, they already released all the different versions that you could buy in like January of 2014. And that really kind of irked people a little bit. And then they had all these different digital deluxe versions and you know, bonuses for Xbox players. You know, you get the beta and you get the maybe play early, and you know, if you buy only the digital version, then they had the PC Monster Race Edition, where you could have everything somewhat unlocked ahead of time, and it was just a mess, and it confused players because it was like, well, can't I just buy the regular version? I mean, do I have to get the deluxe version? I mean, you know, why is the next monster going to cost me $15 by itself? Or if I don't buy the extreme edition or whatever it's called, you know, then I'll get the monster for only $5? I mean, why isn't it included? It was just an absolute mess. And then on day one, there was literally at least $86 US dollars of skins and cosmetic only stuff, and that really kind of irked some people. I mean, you're talking about $2 just to make your gun blue or purple or a different color, a different skin, $5 to make all 3 weapons of a particular character, or it was more like $7 or $8 for a new skin for a monster. Just absolute crap. And it was really a shame, because it really left a bad taste, because the people that wanted to buy the game didn't want to get behind it if they were going to have all this confusion and make it seem like the company was nickel and diming people. And it's a shame, because at its heart, Evolve is a great game. When you're playing with some like-minded gamers, it's a great game. You know, you throw someone like me and JonTron and Peanut Butter Gamer and Angry Joe, you know, you throw us into a match and we're like, oh, okay, this is how the monster works. And it's like, okay, well, let me figure out the monster. And everyone's like, okay, we'll give you a little break. And, you know, oh, so this weapon does it like this, and the dome is really useful. You know, figuring out stuff is absolutely great. But when you throw in random players, if you have a bad monster, your match is going to be over within like 3 minutes. Versus whether if you have a really good monster, he's going to be hiding from you, and you got like 10 minutes where you're just trying to find the monster and you can't figure it out. And that's what really hurt this game, because people, as cool as these characters are, you know, the whole fact that you had to use, you know, one of the 4 starting characters in order to unlock the second character in that line, and then you had to use that second character in order to lock the third character in that particular line. It just really felt like they were overextending their use. I mean, all the maps and all the modes were free. There's like 14 maps to the game now, you know, after 2 years. And that's a pretty good, decent amount of content. If it would have came with all that from the start, maybe people wouldn't complain about it so much, but it's really a flawed design with a very excellent game on top. If you find it for cheap, I even got friends that still won't pick it up when it goes on sale for $13. Really a shame. And that was part 1. So hey, click on the video in the upper left if you want to see part 2. This is Upload Studio. Not quite sure if I can pull that off here. I'll try to do it for YouTube. So hey, yeah, but that's part 2. Right there, most disappointing games of 2015. If you want to see me do a Let's Play in Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days, click on the bottom video, and then slap yourself in the face, because there's no fucking way I'm playing that fucking game! 4 hours of running around naked and covered in friggin' blood. There's no goddamn way, unless you guys click it a whole lot. I don't know. I don't think I can actually tell if you guys click it a whole bunch, unless I put something there to register clicks. But yeah, I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, check out part 2 at least. Thanks for watching.